All right, I'll leave it to you to read the context. We want to construct and interpret a 99% confidence interval. So let's go through our process here. First, state we will construct a 99% confidence interval for the true difference in proportions of men and women 19 to 25 who live in parents' homes. All right, next thing is plan. So we want to check the conditions. First thing is that both of our samples are randomly selected. So we got random here, and well, it doesn't say the women are, but I guess we're assuming they're both random samples. So both samples are random. Less than 10%. I would assume, let's say, 2,253 men and 2,629 women. 629 women are less than 10% of each population. So that one's good. And then here's where a little bit of work comes in. So we got N of the men times P, or P hat in this case, of the men. So the expected number of successes has to be greater than or equal to 10. And same thing with the failures for each one. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. So we've got 986. So they give us raw data here. 986 is greater than 10, and also that's 2253 minus 980. So we've got enough successes, and our failures is going to be 2253 minus 986, which gives us 1267, and that's definitely bigger than 10. So the distribution of the men is good. Distribution of the women is the same. So successes for the women. Successes for the women, we've got 923. It's greater than 10. And failures for the women, 1697. And that's definitely greater than 10. So we've got a normal sampling distribution here. All right, so we want to go ahead and do the do part. So we've got our statement and our plan. Our do part, we're going to state that we have a 2-prop Z interval in this particular case. And again, the reason that we can use the Z interval is because we know that it's normal based on this condition here, this third condition, having 10 successes and 10 failures. So 2-prop Z interval. We're going to use our calculator to enter this information. And again, we want to specify the important stuff here. So the P hat for the men minus the P hat for the women, or in other words, the difference in proportion of men and women is equal to, there's a little bit of math involved in this. So my proportion of men is going to be 986. I'll do this off to the side over here, over 2253, which equals about 0.438. And then the women is 923 over 2629, which equals about 0.351. So it's equal to 0.438, which is the proportion of men, minus 0.351. Do the math, use your calc, you get about an 8.7% difference in the sampling in between these samples. So 0.087. So again, the reason that we report that is because that's the center of our interval. The other thing that we want to report is the Z star, so the critical value here. And this is a 99% confidence interval, 2.58. So we've got where this thing is centered, we've got our Z star, and the only thing left is to find our interval. So we're going to use our calculator here. You go to hit menu, go to statistics. We want confidence intervals, and this is a 2 proportion Z interval. Let's go back to our info here. Number of successes in the first sample was 986. The number of successes in our second sample for women was 923. The sample size for the men was 2253. And the sample size for the women was 2629. Our confidence level, we wanted a 0.99. So we hit OK, and it spits out our interval. So here's our interval. Right here, there's the lower, there's the upper. So it goes from approximately 5.05%, or 5.1, we'll round up, to 12.3%. So we're back here, our interval here. I know things are getting a little crunched, but we go from 5.1% to 12.3%. And again, remember, this is the difference between the men and the women. The difference between the men and the women that we just found, the proportion of men that live at home and the proportion of women that live at home. So we go to conclude. We can make our conclusion here. So our conclusion is that we are 99% confident that the true proportion, or the true difference in proportion of men and women that stay at home or who live in their parents' homes is between 5.1% and 12.3%.